So to get started, you'll be needing your curved ruler. As a beginner, try to get this kind of ruler because it's going to be helping you with the armhole. I also have my marker here and also my pen, my scissors and my tape. If you don't have your marker, you can either use your pen or your pencil. First of all, I'm going to connect a straight line at the top of my pattern paper. So this line I just connected is going to be my shoulder line. Alright, so this is where we are going to be taking all the measurements from. So this area here will serve as the center of our pattern paper. So from the shoulder line, I'm going to come down to my bust point, shoulder to bust point, which for me is 11 inches. Alright, so you can see from the picture here, you should know what I'm trying to say. So come down from your shoulder area and you are going to mark your bust point. I'll just mark 11 inches here. After marking that my bust point, the next line I'm going to mark is my under bust, which is 15 in my own case. And the next one is my waistline. Now there's a difference between the waist in front and the waist at the back. Alright, do well to take your accurate measurements before you start drafting this out. So the pattern paper here is 24 inches in length, so I'm just going to make use of that 24 inches. I'll repeat same measurement on this other side and then go ahead to connect them. So after connecting this is my bust point. I'm just going to mark here the bust point. This right here is my under bust. Do well to label them this way so that you don't get confused. This is the waistline, and let's just call this the hemline. All right, like the full length of our top. Let's say we are trying to mark out our top and this other side is the shoulder line. From the shoulder line here, I'm going to come in by half of my shoulder measurements. My shoulder is 15. Half of it is 7.5. So I'm going to mark 7.5 here. After that, from that point I mark 7.5, I'm going to come down to my shoulder slope. The reason why you need to come down from the shoulder here by 1 inch is because our shoulder is not straight. So you have to come down by 1 inch, and this is like standard. Okay, just come down from the shoulder line by 1 inch for your shoulder slope. Still on the shoulder line, from the center of my pattern paper, I'm going to come in by about 3 inches for the neck width. You can do 3.5 inch depending on how wide you want it to be around the shoulder area. So for the sake of this tutorial, I'll just make use of 3 inches. As for the neck depth, I'll come down from the shoulder area by about 4 inches. 4 inches is also the standard when drafting a basic bodice block. All right, so come down from the shoulder area by 4 inches. After marking your 4 inches point right here, you're now going to be connecting from the shoulder, like the neck width. Where we have the neck width here, connect the curve back to that 4 inches point using your curved ruler. So this is why I said you need to get your curved ruler. All right, so on the shoulder line, this point, I'll connect it back to this other point here. So I'll place my ruler on that point, making sure that they both match. All right, so I'm going to connect it just like this. Can you see? It's very simple with the help of your ruler. Sorry. After that, the next thing we are going to be doing right now, and after connecting our neckline, is to come back to the shoulder area here. From this point where we came down by from 1 inch, this point here, remember we marked our half of our shoulder and then came down by 1 inch. So we are going to connect it back to the neck width. All right, so connect it this way back to the neck width, just like this. Now we've succeeded in connecting our shoulder slope back to the neck width. The next thing we are going to get now is to get our chest line. All right, so to get your chest, you are going to be dividing your round bust by 6. if you are taking your round bust measurement on your bust line, you will need to divide it by 4. But since we are working on getting our chest line, you will need to divide your round bust by 6 and add 1.5 to whatever measurement you have. For my own case, my round bust divided by 6 plus 1.5, I got 8.1. I really hope that you guys understand. Alright, so when drafting this, just make sure you take the correct measurement. From the shoulder slope, I'll come down to whatever measurement I have. Alright, there's another method you can also use. You can also decide to go up from the bust point by 2 inches. This works for a lot of people. Alright, so you can decide to just go up from that bust point by 2 inches. Okay, and after that, I will just connect all those points to give me my chest line. Alright, so just connect them this way. So now I'm done connecting, this is my chest line. Okay, so for more clarity, I'm going to take all the measurements again so that you guys understand what we are doing here. So if you're a beginner, please pay attention. From the chest or from the shoulder line, I came down at first to my bust point, my under bust, my waistline, and the hemline. Alright, so after connecting all those points, the next measurement I took again was to come in from the shoulder area here by half of my shoulder measurement, which I said my shoulder is 15 and half of it is 7.5. And from that point, I came down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. Remember, I said our shoulder is not straight, so you need to come down by 1 inch. And after that, from that 1 inch point, I went down by 8.1 inches. Like I told you guys, I had to even explain everything, did the calculation here for you to understand, and I really hope that you understand. So this is how I got my chest line. And I said you can even go ahead to mark 2 inches above your bust line. Alright, that is if you don't want to go through this other procedure. Go up by 2 inches above your bust line and then connect your chest line. So right here, I'm on the chest line here, I'm going to mark half of my shoulder measurement again, which is 7.5. This is just to help me get a straight line across the shoulder slope area. So I'm just going to place my ruler this way and connect it just like this. So I have been able to explain this pattern correctly, and I hope that you really understand everything I said here. Before we move over to cutting or taking our dart, all right, so if you have any questions, just leave them in the comment section for me. Now the next thing I'm going to do right now is I'll be taking my dart. All right, so I will also advise that you pay close attention to this. For your darts, you need to divide your nipple to nipple measurement by 2. In my own case, it's 8 inches, and that divided by 2 is 4 inches. So on the bust line, I went out by 4 inches. On my under bust as well, I went in by 4 inches, and on the hemline, I also go in by 4 inches. So after connecting all those points, I'm just going to use my ruler here to connect a straight line around that area, just like this. Okay, just connect it down to the bust point somewhere here, don't go up. Okay, so this here is just a little mistake, just stop around the bust area. When you're done with this, on the waistline, all right, I'll come down by about 4 inches on this dart line. I'm using the dart line. Placing my tape from the waistline, I'll go down by 4 inches this way. And once I'm done, I'm also going to come back to this waistline. I'll go out on both sides by half of an inch. At the end of the day, you should have 1 inch on this area here, half inch on this side and half inch on the other side. So once you're done connecting those points, connect them back to the bust point just like this. All right, so you connect them back this way, and then also connect this other side here back to the bust point just like this. Now we are done with that. So on this area where I came down by about 4 inches. I'm going to be connecting my dart, all right, this dart leg that I went out by 1 inch. Now, for those of you that don't know how to read your tape, your half inch is this line that is longer than the other lines just after where you have your 1 inch. This one that is longer than the rest before you get to the 2 inches point, that is what we call half inch. So I use it to go out on both sides. Now I'm going to be connecting the dart back to that 4 inches point I went down by on the waistline, just like this. So I'm really trying to explain this better so that you guys can understand what I'm saying. So once you're done connecting your dart, this is what you should have, all right? So it's now time to get our armhole. On this armhole area here, I'll be dividing what I have here by 2. All right, so remember it's 8 inches. Remember I said from the shoulder slope to my chest line is 8 inches and I connected the line across. So I'll be dividing this line by 2. 8 divided by 2 will give me 4 inches. So I'll mark 4 inches here. And from this 4 inches point, all right, so after dividing it, from this 4 inches point, you'll be going in by half of an inch. All right, from that point, go in by half inch this way. Okay, so this half inch, you are going to be using it to connect your armhole. So you need to come in or go in by half inch to get that curve. All right, then you come to the chest line here. You'll be marking your round bust divided by 4. Remember I said for you to get your round bust, divide it by 4. In my own case, it's 10 inches, which I marked there. I'll be using my curved ruler now to get my armhole. But first, I'll be connecting the first line. All right, so I'll be connecting this first line back to this half inch point. All right, so I'll first of all connect it to that half inch point, just like this. I'll place my ruler this way and connect it just like this. And after that, after connecting it this way, I'll be connecting it back to the chest line with a curve. So just try your best to, place your curve correctly this way and connect the curve following those areas like this. So guys, after connecting your armhole, you are going to have a very beautiful armhole just like what we have here. So it's now time to take all our horizontal measurements. So on the chest line, remember we have already marked my round bust divided by 4 here on the chest line, which I marked to get my armhole curve. And I really hope that you still understand what I'm trying to say, all right, to this very point here. Now I'll be adding 1 inch for the stitching allowance. All right, I'm going to be adding 1 inch for my stitching allowance. And then the next thing I'm going to do now, okay, so another thing I want you to know is that the chest line, whenever you've marked your measurement on the chest line, there will be no need to mark it on the bust line again. Just move over to your waistline and you're going to be marking your round waist divided by 4, which is somewhere here. Now once you're done with this, you also need to replace this dart of 1 inch back. You need to measure it and then replace it back. If you do not replace this dart back, like the measurements back, at the end of the day, once you are done making your dress, it will come out very tight. So you need to measure the 1 inch and replace it, and then add your stitching allowance of 1 inch again. After marking your waistline, mark 1 inch again for your dart and 1 inch for your stitching allowance, so that at the end of the day, when you are done taking out your dart, it's not going to be tight on you. I hope you understand though. Now on the hip line, I'm going to mark my round hip divided by 4. Sorry, on the hem line. So we are going to be using our hip circumference in this case, okay? So after marking my round hip divided by 4, I also added 1 inch for my stitching allowance. So I'll be connecting all the last points together. So after connecting, just go ahead and smoothen any sharp points just like this, and you are good to go. Now the next thing I want to do now is to get my side dart, and to do that, just like I said, that there's a difference between your waist in front and waist at the back. So the difference between my waist in front and the back is 1.5 inches. My waist to front is my shoulder to waist in front is 18 inches, and shoulder to waist at the back is 16.5. So the difference between the waist in front and the waist at the back is 1.5. So I came down from the bust point by that 1.5, and I'm just connecting it directly to the bust point just like so. So now I'm just going to go ahead and then trace out every other point. So we are done drafting the front pattern. Alright, so it's now time to draft the back pattern. So guys, please, if you haven't subscribed at this point, please do well to hit on the subscribe button, and also please turn on your notification bell so you'll be first to get notified whenever I upload my next video. So for the back pattern, I have also placed another pattern paper, and I'm going to be connecting a line at the top of this paper to serve as the shoulder line, just the same way we did for the front pattern. Now after connecting this line, I'll just call this the shoulder line. So I'm going to be taking all my vertical measurements from here. From here, I'll come down to the bust point, which is 11 inches in my own case. Go ahead and mark yours. I'm also going to mark it here, and I'll go ahead and connect those points to give me a straight line just like this. After connecting, I'm just going to call this the bust point. Now I'm going to be taking the measurement, my shoulder to waist for the back. Alright, so shoulder to waist for the back for me is 16.5. So I'm not going to be marking what I had in front. I'll just mark for the back 16.5 here, and I'm also going to mark 16.5 here. So now I'm also going to go ahead and also connect those points together just like this. Now before I connect, okay, let's call this the waistline. Before I connect the full length of this pattern, I'm not going to be placing my tape this way. Rather, I'm going to bring the front pattern this way, and from the front waist, I'll measure down to the hem. So what I have here is 6 inches. So I'm going to take out the pattern and then come to the waistline on the back pattern here, and also mark that 6 inches here. Alright, so don't just connect your straight line, just measure what you have on the waistline down to the hem on your front pattern, and then connect it this way on the back pattern. So right here, this is now our hemline. Alright, so this is like the full length we are working with. I'll come again to the shoulder area here. I'll mark half of my shoulder divided by 2, which is 7.5, and from that point I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope, and then I'm going to mark my neck width of 3 inches. All right, so for the back, unlike the front, we came down by about 4 inches. So you can see the front shoulder and the back shoulder is equal. All right, so these are the things you need to take note of. Unlike the front, we came down by 4 inches. For the back, we are going to come down by 1.5 inches. So the back has to be higher, or has to be high, or high. How do I call it? Has to be higher than the front, right? So for the back neck depth, use 1.5 inches. So come down from the shoulder here and connect it back this way. I'm just trying to repeat everything we did for the front, but with a little different. Okay, so you guys, I just hope that you understand what I'm doing here. So I'm going to be taking my chest line, and I know that I told you that to get your chest line, divide your round bust by 6 and add 1.5 to it, or you can go up from the bust line by 2 inches and connect it this way, just like this. So this is my chest line. All right, now I've gotten this, and to get a straight line, I'll come to the chest line and also mark half of my shoulder divided by 2, which is 7.5 here. I'm going to be connecting this point just like this. All right, so from here I'll connect to this point here, and after connecting this, you can see what we have already, right? Now the next thing we are going to do now is to get the dart for the front, sorry, for the back. Unlike the front, we started our darts from the bust point. For the back pattern, we are going to start from the chest line. All right, so I'll mark 4 inches inward, which is half of my nipple to nipple point. I'm also going to mark it on the hemline, and I'll connect this line to give me a straight line. So for the back pattern, always start your chest, or take your darts from the chest. All right, and always take your darts on the waistline. Okay, so I'll come to the waistline here, and I'll go out on both sides by half of an inch. Always make sure that you are taking your darts from the waistline, and from that half of an inch, just like the front, we came down from the waistline by about 4 inches. All right, so we're not going to be doing that on the back pattern. Okay, so for the back, we're just going to connect it downward. So to do that, from here to here, we're going to connect it to the top just like this. So from here, I'll connect it here, and from this other side as well, I'm also going to connect it here. All right, so after connecting, I'm just going to now connect this point back just like this. So I'll place my tape in my ruler in any way possible, so that I will just connect it just like so. So we have gotten the dart for the back. All right, and this is what it looks like. So let's go ahead and connect our armhole. From here to here, I'll measure what I have. I had 8 inches, and half of this is 4 inches. So I'm just going to mark 4 inches here, and from that point, I'll go out by half of an inch. All right, and on the chest line, I'm going to mark my round bust divided by 4 here. So I'll connect all those points to give me my armhole. There's another method you can also connect your back armhole. You can decide not to go in by ½ inch. Just connect from the part where you divided it. All right, so after dividing it, remember that point I marked 4 inches, you can just connect a curve down to the point where you have your bust measurement. So I've connected my curve, and you can see how beautiful it is, right? So we are done with this, guys, and we are almost done with this pattern. So for the chest line, remember I've already taken my measurement here that I marked here to get my armhole. I also went ahead to add 1 inch of stitching allowance. On the waistline, I'll mark my round waist divided by 4. I'll replace these darts, okay? Because if you don't replace it, by the time you are done stitching, it will be too tight. Replace your 1 inch for that. And then I'll come to the hip here. I'll mark my round hip divided by 4 plus 1 inch for my stitching allowance. So on the waistline here, I forgot to add my stitching allowance of 1 inch. I'm just going to replace that here. All right, so always add your stitching allowance. So I'll connect it now from the chest line down to that waist, and from the waist I'll connect to the hip just like this. And I'm also going to smoothen any area that is curved. Right now, I'll just go ahead and cut this out. So I'm sure you're wondering why I didn't add my zipper allowance to this pattern. is very simple. When you want to cut this on fabric, just place it this way and add either 1.5 inch or 2 inches of zipper allowance to it. All right, so when you place the back and the front, you will notice that the front is longer than the back pattern, and that's because remember the shoulder to waist in front is 18 inches, so the difference between the back and the front is 1.5. So by the time we take away the side dart, everything is going to be equal. All right, so the side dart on the bust area here where we have our front pattern, by the time you close up your side dart, so I'm just trying to show you what I'm trying to say. By the time we close up the side dart this way, everything will be equal. All right, so you don't need to panic about that. All right, so guys, this is it, and this is all or how to draft your own basic bodies. I believe this video is kind of helpful to you. Please leave a comment, beautiful comments for me, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.